What is up, guys? MegZardZ here, and I'm recording this mere seconds after I just had a battle with Dundies. He's number 2 on the ladder. This is an RMT that I'll throw in the description because why not? And this battle was just absolutely insane. So I've made the cropping a lot larger to include the comments because we have a bit of a discussion here that was pretty funny. And I'm also going to be running this on slow to more go through the thoughts of the battle because this was a really cool game. He's led to number 2 with this team, and I did have the RMT, so I did know some stuff, like that Scarf Hunter, AV Throw, physically defensive thing, Rocks Marowak, Sneasel is Life Orb SD, I think, and that, no, it's a Violate SD with low kick though, or something like that. And then Simipour has a berry, although I don't really remember what that I didn't remember what the berry was going into the battle, and I'm just sort of trying to explain the thoughts going into the battle. I'm using this team I've used before, Banded Garbodor, replaced, I don't even remember what was here, I think it was I don't remember. With Rest Talk Machoke. Wanted to try that out. It's sort of like Rest Talk Throw with slightly less bulk, but Revenge hits a lot harder. Like, once they hit you, Revenge will do a lot more damage. Then Life Orb, Taunt Electrode, physically defensive, especially defensive thing, and Rapidash. Scarf Rapidash. So he's going to lead off with Marowak. I lead off with my Avalog. And I just want to go straight for the Avalanche. I'm not really concerned with what happens here. Why not? As I tell him, he's commenting on his RMT. So I sort of know his sets. He goes into Clefairy, and that does absolutely nothing, which is sort of disgusting. Um, Also, I just saw Dundies played the Crit Magnet, and I was just watching his live, so we're both going to upload lives against Dundies on the same day. That's cool. He's going to predict my my switch out to Garbodor very nicely, go double back into Marowak, so I'm going to have to go straight back into Avalugg as we're having a little discussion on whether he has Stone Edge on Marowak, because the set was knockoff Bone Meringue Double Edge Rocks, and I said put Stone Edge on it. That was my suggestion in the RMT, but I don't know if he has that yet, so he's going to go back into Clefairy now. So I'm, again, not really concerned with anything, just going to Avalanche. I also thought it did more than it actually did. I didn't see that it was a crit, and it does absolutely nothing. But once again, just going to go into Banded Garbodor. If he doubles into Marowak, I don't lose anything. I can go back into Avalugg, but he does go for Soft Boiled, and that means Banded Garbodor does a hell of a lot of damage to something. As he thinks Marowak is a good switch, but this is Banded Garbodor. And at this point, I really wish I had Seed Bomb. I was testing Payback on it. I'm going back to Seed Bomb. That would have O-code this thing, I'm pretty certain. And I would have predicted that too, but I'm just going to go for the Gong Shot. That does so much damage! And I get the Poison, which is great, but I'm going to go into Machoke, a little bit afraid of a Stone Edge. But he goes for Bone Meringue, so Machoke takes a hell of a lot of damage. And Machoke is basically like a 100% Sneasel counter, as is Avalugg, so I have 2 of those on this team, plus Electrode and Scarf Rapidash. This team doesn't like Sneasel. Anyway, I'm just going to rest, thinking I might be faster, but he's max speed, or at least speed creeped, or maybe Marowak's is faster. I didn't really remember in the battle, but I get a rest off as he goes for Rocks, which works for me. At this point, I'm just going to go into Altaria because the Bone Meringue is rather obvious, and I didn't think he was in a position to predict. I mean, I personally would have tried to knock off because he doesn't know if I'm like max HP, max defense, or max Spadef. And if I'm max HP, max Spadef, Machoke sort of shits on the team. So I probably would have done that. But I'm going to get Altarium and kill him with the Dragon Pulse. So that works out pretty nicely in my favor. He's going to end up going to Throw, which I know is AV, and I also happen to know carries Ice Punch. And I do still want this because it just beats Haunter, it just straight up wins. So I'm going to go into Avalugg, as he's actually going to predict Garbodor and go for the Earthquake, because at this point, even with the damage against Marowak, he doesn't know that I'm banded. So he goes for Storm Throw. I actually end up living that. I sort of expected to be sacking Avalugg, but I'm going to get off a spin, which is nice. I don't really need Avalugg, because I have Garbodor and or Machoke for Throw, and I have Machoke for Sneasel, so it's not a necessity to have, as Throw just shits on this team. So the best thing I can do is go into Rapidash and just get off damage, as I am Adamant Scarf. This was a mistake, I should have been Jolly Scarf, but because of that, it's going to come into play a little later. As he goes into Clefairy, I'm going to get a crit, but I'm still not going to KO next turn. So he has the soft-boiled here, as I get a free switch into Garbodor once again, which ends up working very nicely in my favor. But yeah, since I wouldn't have KO'd, I'm just going to have to switch out. I actually think I might have, I'm not sure, but even then I felt the crit was pretty bogus. So he's going to go into throw as I can just click Gunk Shot. Unfortunately, it misses when it was a clean 2-hit KO. So at this point, I just have to stay in, as that did 69%. First of all, it's a funny sex joke, not really, but second of all, look at that damage, and that's a max HP throw, what the fuck? That did so much damage. As he's actually going to save throw, I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I guess he thought Haunter's resists would help, but that still does fucking 56%, like, goddamn. At this point, I don't really need Garbodor, but I have a 100% counter to Scarf Haunter, which I know he is. And I also know he doesn't have Trick, or at least he didn't. If I remember the RMT, it was like Sludge Wave, Shadow Ball, Destiny Bond, and then he was running Energy Ball or Trick. So, we're having a bit of a conversation on the sets. Nothing too interesting right now, but the talk gets really interesting later. As I'm actually going to predict the switch into Clefairy, go back into Garbodor, and Garbodor is basically here to take another life. I mean, Banded Garbodor is so much fun. Unless they have like a Bastiodon and a Mischievous, because then you don't know if you're going to Drain Punch or Gunk Shot and stuff. Or I don't know, the first two mons I thought of. So he's going to Sack Throw, probably the best thing to sack. Go into Simipour. At this point, if he subs down, because he's sub-berry Simipour, he will run out. He won't be able to sub on the same turn that Garbodor runs out of Gunk Shots. So he could have done that. And then, I still don't know what berry is, so I'm not really afraid, because I have Scarf Rapidash. But I'm going to go into Electrode, and basically force him out, and I can just click T-Bolt. Nothing can take 2 T-Bolts, because that is physically defensive Clefairy. And even if I remember incorrectly, it turns out to be Spadef, I have Taunt, so I'm not really afraid of anything. So I'm just going to 2-hit KO the Clefairy, which is nice. You know, bulky stuff is annoying, and it 100% walled Altaria. Like, it has Dragon Pulse and Toxic as the only way it does damage, so... He's going to go into Haunter. I don't really want to deal with it because it's Scarfed, so I'm just going to go straight into my Altaria. Not really afraid of anything, as he goes for Destiny Bond. And at this point, if Altaria kills Haunter, that's all I need it for, because Simipour is Ice Beam, so I'm just going to try to kill him. If Altaria goes down, I don't need it. Goes into Simipour, as Dragon Pulse is going to do 35%, no, I'm sorry, 36, and he eats his Salic Berry, which means he's faster than my entire team. And while Machoke has Bullet Punch, it's asleep, so I can't be guaranteed that. So he's going to go for the Nasty Plot, and right here, I'm going to min-max him. And that definitely mattered. I would have had to... No, I mean, I would have lost, because I'm not Jolly Scarf, I'm Adamant Scarf, so that really matters. He's like, oh god, that really hurt. And like, yeah, he goes into Sneasel. I predict him to go for knockoff, predicting Machoke. I'm going to stay in Toxic. And then I'm just going to shove it into his face even more, and predict him to knock off once again. Although, he might, no, he's not Scarf. I'm going to predict him to knock off once again and get off Dragon Pulse damage. I could have roosted and then gone to Machoke. I didn't really feel like it, but, yeah, he's gonna finally kill Altaria. That's not an issue, really. I'm just gonna go into Rapidash and kill off the Sneasel. You know, Sneasel is not really a threat. And excuse me while I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but go into Rapidash. And at this point, this is why I put this stuff in the comments. I'm gonna Flare Blitz, kill the Sneasel. All he's got left is a Haunter, and at this point we both think I'm Jolly Scarf. I didn't realize I was Adamant Scarf. So he thinks he's lost, and right here, oh, excuse me, right here, let me go back to this part in the chat. If you really love Pokemon, you'll forfeit right now so I don't drop, since I've been top 10 for like a month straight and I've never gotten this high, because he's number 2 on the ladder, and I'll love you. I'm like, Here's the thing. I've spent hours screwing around with my Hyper Offense team, refining it, making changes, laddering constantly, only to fall back down, peaking briefly at number 6 before going back down to number 38. You want to be number 1? Earn it, soldier! And I refuse to forfeit. Then he's faster, and at that point I realized, oh shit, I didn't have a win. I go into Machoke, I'm like, I'm gonna win. Even if he kills me, even if I don't pull off like some bullet punches and stuff in the sleep talks, I still have Electrode, which doesn't die from Haunter's Sludge Wave, and can kill him back with the T-Bolt. So unless he like crits me or something, it's over. But at this point, you were like, oh wait, Rapidash was adamant, and I realized I min-maxed him. But not only that, I ladder in PU under Bippy, not under the account Megazord Z. So. Like, oh yeah, Rapidash is adamant, and at the point he thought he had lost, and because I'm really low on the ladder, would it drop down to like 1570 something, I'm just gonna forfeit out of nowhere. So I just thought that whole game was so hilarious. So that was a good game, Dundies. I hope next time you bring a smarter team, and I won't be a retard and run Jolly Scarf in this tier, because in PU, all the things around like base 95 and stuff can be scarfed, which means you have to run Jolly Scarf, not Adamant Scarf and stuff like that. So that was a great game. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I thought it was hilarious, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.